Hello and welcome back to another The Shoe Vlog. Today we are talking about purity in couple relationships. Now we're finally to the part where we talk about purity that most people think about when they hear the word. Purity in couple relationships. When you finally meet someone you feel you can spend the rest of your life with, it will feel right. God created two genders, male and female. He created their parts to fit together. He created sex. Now, before I go any farther discussing sexual purity, I want to put in a PSA here. I went to a public high school, then a Christian college. In high school, I learned about sex and how it works. When I got to college, some of the girls in my dorm went to Christian schools their whole life. Some of them did not know how sex works. They didn't even know about their own bodies. When I asked them what they were taught about sex, they said, "Not much." Most of them replied with the idea that they were told that sex is icky and we shouldn't talk about it. Mouth drop on the floor here. If sex isn't good, why did God create it to be bonding? Why did He create it and make it feel good to do? Why did He make it as the way to reproduce? Sex is good in the context of marriage. And yet, churches don't teach that. Christian schools don't teach that. Parents don't teach their children that. In all my years serving as a soccer coach at a Christian college, only one player who I asked what she was taught about sex had a good answer. Her parents taught her that sex is beautiful in the context of marriage, that it should be safe for when a man and a woman love one another and are married. That's what we should be teaching others. Thus ends my soapbox. Now, relationships nowadays are very different than relationships back in Bible time. In Bible times, there was no dating. Today we have dating, DTR, engagement, then finally marriage. And there's no set time as to how long each of those things can take. Thus, why staying pure in relationships can be so hard. You are spending time getting to know someone to see if you want to spend the rest of your life with them. The more time you spend, the closer you get. The closer you get, the closer you want to be, if you catch my drift. This is when temptation comes into play. God has made it clear in His Word that we are not to be sexually immoral. 1 Corinthians 7:2 says, "But because of the temptation to sexual immorality, each man should have his own wife and each woman her own husband." He doesn't say each man should have a friend with benefits, a concubine, or a prostitute. Each man should have one wife. God has also made it clear the dangers of having sex outside of marriage. Each time you have sex with someone, you are bonding with them. You are connected. You are one. All this can be seen in the chemical reactions in your brain. There's also the danger of STDs when you sleep with more than one person. Now, knowing all of this, how do we stay pure even when it's hard? Psalm 119:9 holds the answer. How can a young man keep his way pure? By guarding it according to your word. We have discussed how purity begins in the heart. If you have a heart for God, you will read His word and get to know Him. As you get to know Him, you will not only have more of a heart for Him, but you will also know His word more. His word can help you guard your heart. You can pray when you feel tempted or weak. I know it sounds like a simple answer, but it doesn't mean it's easy. God doesn't always ask us to do what's easy. He asks us to do what's right. So are you pursuing purity in your relationships? How can you grow closer to God?